this is a huge moment for the women's game. We've seen such significant progress over the last few years. We've seen stadiums sell out, the Women's European Championship that was won by England, there was record attendances, there's record ticket sales, but the World Cup is a whole nother level. FIFA, the organisers, are predicting that around 2 billion people around the world will watch this tournament. And that would be an 80% increase on the previous tournament in 2019 and a quarter of the world's population. So in terms of visibility, well, wow, in terms of, generating conversations on social media, next generations of fans, next generations of players, and also people that maybe haven't really been interested before might switch on and watch. So it's a great opportunity. Ticket sales have been really strong. Over 1 million, about 1.4 million, and also the prize pot has increased significantly since 2019. It was 30 million 4 years ago, and it's up to $110 million. And also there has been a big milestone, and that's the fact that this is the first Women's World Cup where there'll be a guaranteed minimum salary. It's $30,000 per player, and if they get to the final and win it, it'll be $270,000 per player. So it's a great financial incentive, and it's also a good sign that FIFA are taking positive steps to move towards greater gender equality.
So where are we in terms of that equality with the male game, the men's game?
Well, good question, Jamie. Positive steps, but the truth is that we are very far away. Women are doing the right thing. As I said, they are selling out stadiums. They're generating a lot of interest in the game. They are just not getting on par financially with the men's games. I mentioned earlier 110 million, the prize pot, but let's look at what it was in Qatar for the Men's World Cup last year. Well, it was a lot more. It was 440 million, 4 times as much. Also, the biggest example of where the gap is in the average annual salaries. So we're going to take the English League as an example, the English top flight. The Women's Super League, it's around $50,000 a year for a women's player. The men's closer to 4 million. And it just carries on right up to the top players. So Sam Kerr is one of the world's best women's players. She's also the top earner. She's on a really good salary. It's $500,000. But compare that to Cristiano Ronaldo, the world's best paid men's player, who is on $200 million. They're just worlds apart. And you know what? People will say, oh, but the men's game's been around longer, it's more established, there's better revenue. And they're all good points. But what people feel is a frustration. They feel that no matter what women's footballers are doing at the moment, they're just not being taken quite seriously enough. We've seen rows over bonuses. For example, in the England women's camp, they're not getting paid a bonus. They were the ones that won the trophy last year, whereas the men in Qatar did. And there's also been a big TV rights row going into the tournament. The European rights were only wrapped up a month ago. Japan, it was, I think, last week. And broadcasters were offering just 1% to 2% in some cases what they offered for Qatar. So what message does that send out? Football has a responsibility. It's such a global influencer. And yet that's actually sending out a message that women are not worth the same as men, not just in football, but also in wider society, and their achievements are not being taken seriously.